Good evening, everyone. I am your host and instructor, Laney Shaughnessy, and welcome to Spindle TV, your best source for CNC CAD/CAM training videos. Spindle TV is brought to you by Digital Woodcarver, inspiring your creativity and providing you with the tools to create your own unique masterpieces. Hello and welcome to Spindle TV. How are you guys and girls doing tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. Yes. All right. Well, let's see here. Who all do we have tonight? We got quite a few people. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. No, Tippy, we're not frozen again. We're here. We're not playing that game again. Knock on wood. We're gonna have a nice stream. No mess ups. Tonight we're gonna be talking about serving trays. We're gonna be talking with the serving trays. We're gonna make some decorative designs. We're going to do a little bit of inlay work with some of them. We're going to talk about our assembly and some of the two-sided jobs. Some of the parts will be two-sided jobs that we'll be working with for the joinery and stuff, and all that wonderful thing. It's going to be kind of a combination of things, and hopefully when it's all said and done, we'll end up with about 3 or 4 very nice looking designs that we could just grow on. You know, these are just going to kind of be some samples and examples, should I say. Now, it's definitely going to be eventful. Let's say the least. You know, because we know what a serving tray is, and there's all kinds of different styles and things, and we can do modern, contemporary, Western. We can do all kinds of neat little things. We're gonna customize it. We're gonna decorate it up with some inlays. We're gonna do all kinds of different things. But we're gonna first get the base down, and then we're gonna look at the different joinery options and stuff, and kind of go from there. Alrighty. Now, let's see here. I think it's 7:16. It looks like we've got a good crowd tonight. And welcome everybody. Baron Lynn, remind me in a text message to get with you on your new spindle, your dust hood. I got an answer for you on the wrench insert on the dust hood. All right, so let's jump on into this, and what you're going to see first off is we're going to go into Sketchup first. Before we get into the Vectric, we're going to go into Sketchup, and I'm going to lay out just a general design of a basic serving tray, so you can kind of see what we're going with as far as the base. Just the basic design, and then we're going to kind of dress it up from there and everything. So let's switch over to Sketchup to start off with before we get into the Vectric. And for those of you that don't know what SketchUp is a 3D modeling program, free 3D modeling program for creating woodworking projects and everything. A lot of, not just woodworking projects, a lot of stuff. But when I create my jewelry boxes or really any project, I lay it out in SketchUp first, and also. That's what we're going to get. So what you see on the screen is basically we've got our X, Y, and Z, our red, green, and blue planes here, and we're drawing kind of in 3-dimension. And for this, our serving tray is going to be 24.5 inches, so 24.5 comma by 18 1/4. Let's zoom into that. Okay, and kind of get here. And now for the bottom of the serving tray, it depends on what we're going to be doing. I mean, normally it's going to be a thin bottom, you know, 1/4 of an inch or something like that. But if I'm going to be V-carve inlaying in this, or inlaying period, or doing some V carving or some design work and all, then I'm going to want a little bit of material and all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this piece a 1/2 inch thick. So 0.5, enter. And then I'm going to triple click on that and make that a component. Triple click, hit enter, and that's a component now. Now, this bottom part is going to be inserted or rabbited into our sides and our end caps and everything. So let's start off real quick and kind of get the ends laid in or drawn in. So I'm going to start with a rectangle here, and let's kind of create a rectangle. Where's my rectangle at? There it is. And for that rectangle, my side piece is most likely, I'm thinking the whole thing is going to be kind of 1/2 inch. So that's going to be my go-to. So I'm going to pull that out 0.5, and then I'm going to pull that up. Oops, I'm going to pull that up. I think it's going to be 4 inches tall. I'm going to go 4 inches tall. Possibly not. Oops, let's not do that. Let's see here. Yeah, 4 inches tall, because there's going to be a handle and everything on there. All right, so on here, let's see here. What do I want to do? Let's take, and I'm going to have a handle that is... I'm trying to figure out how high I want my handle to be. We'll come in there. So I'm going to draw a line from here to here. And then I'm going to take and draw an arc. Let me find my center point first. This will be my center right there. And let's see, from the center, I'm going to have the handle to be my fist. If I were to measure, like if my hands were the ones gripping and everything, across, man, I got small hands. Look at that. We're looking at about comfortably 3 3/4 inches wide. So let's go with a 4 inch wide. So let's go 2 inches in this direction. So we'll go 2, enter. We'll go 2 inches in this direction, to enter, and that will give me the place to kind of create my arc. We'll go from here to here up to, where are you going there, buddy? Let's turn this sideways because my line, look where my line drew. What's up with that there? Let's Control Z, let's undo that. Control Y. I don't know why my line drew way out there. Let's try that one more time there, Hoss. All right, let's take my line tool. And I don't know why my line was drawn way out there. What's going to be a nice, we'll go from here to here. Okay, now I'm going to grab my arc tool, and I'm going to make a, let's see here. I'll make a full-on arc there, and then I don't really have a kind of a Bezier curve type thing like we do in Vectric, so let's see if I can. Let's see how good my freehand skills are. So I'm wanting to come. Whoa, my freehand skills aren't that good. We're not going to do that. All right, so somewhere right about here, about this tangent and all, I want to have a nice subtle transition. Okay. Excellent. And I am going to basically. That looks good. All right, yeah, that's going to be a good one there. So let's see where I don't know why my tape measure tool is giving me a hard time today. All right, so that is 4 7/16. So let's do the same thing here. Let's go 4 7/16, and then from here down, I'm at 3/4. So let's go ahead and draw that arc in. Let's snap right here, and just a very subtle on the tangent edge, like that. Pretty stuff. Okay, now I can go ahead and get rid of some things. So I want to delete that. I want to delete that. I want to delete that. I want to delete that and that. All right, man, that's a funky looking handle, but you guys will get the idea here in a minute. This one's not on the tangent, but with that being said, let's go ahead and push pull. Oh, did I not connect up here? You son of a gun. Hold on a second, I'm not connected up here. Let me draw a line in there. I don't know why I'm not connected. Oh, Mr. Push-Pull Tool, don't mess with me now. Ooh, we're getting sexy. Anyway, why isn't my... Stand by, I got to disconnect somewhere. 1, 2, 3. What's the deal there, Junior? That's why I have a disconnect. My line, my arc is like way off into funky man's land. What's up with the arcs today, Laney? Why are you drawing off the board? Let me get rid of that. Jeez Louise, let me draw on my board. Oh, wrong direction. Hold on a second. We're getting somewhere. There we go. Oh, I was just there. Where's my tangent line? Come on, get back in there. Perfect. All right, now I can use my push-pull tool. Look at that, like a champ. Okay. Now, let's come in here and what in the heck am I doing? All right, push-pull. Let's pop that hole through. Let's see, if I go 0.5 enter, bam, poke a hole in there. All right, anyway, this is a rough sketch where it's gonna look much better in the actual Vectric version. I'm just kind of freehanding this right now, doing some, and let's make that a component. And let's take and move that, hold down the control key and drag that to the other side. Work with me there, Junior. All right. And then let's go ahead and get the sides on here. Push pull that out 1/2 inch, 0.5. Triple click on that, make that a component. And then move and let's grab the outside here. Hold down the control key and snap that to there. All right. Okie dokie. Now, let's go ahead and delete my guides here. Okay. So, now, this has no joiner or anything right now. Right now, everything's kind of butt edged up and all that stuff. But This is a typical kind of layout for design, not the handles, of course, and all that stuff, but this is going to be a layout for our serving tray. This is what we're going with, but we're going to do some compound miters on ours, so we have some frailed edges and everything, so they kind of flare out a little bit. We're going to do some regular miters. We're going to do some rabbet joints. We're going to do a couple of things depending on the 3 styles. But down here in this open area here, we're going to do some nice decorative maybe V carving. Could kind of customize it with a logo or something. We're going to, it might be a monogram, like an initial, or, we can just do some nice little intricate inlay, design or something and all. But ignore my goofy little handles. Nobody's getting their hand in them suckers. That's a finger tray. That's a but our handles are going to be much better inside of the Vectric software. But I wanted to just lay out and kind of show you where we're heading, what our goal is for our serving tray, and then of course we're going to just create some bunch of different styles. What I mean by flaring out is, let's say that I take this guy here and I'm going to rotate him, kind of tilt him out a little bit. Let's go 30 degrees. 30 degrees. All right. And on this old boy here, let's grab him. Let's take and let's hide him for a second. And on this one here, let's kind of flare him out. Let's rotate him out. 30. 30. Okay. And that's fine. We'll do 2 sides for right now. So let's move this and let me kind of snap that there. Now I'm going to flip this over and go into the underside here. And we're going to do a we're going to break this up here and do a push pull and just kind of pull this out to here, kind of like that. And then let's go ahead and get our other side back in. So let's unhide. Unhide the last one. Let's get him into position. So we'll move him. Where do I want to move him? I want to snap him right up to there and there. That'll work. All right, and once again, we'll take this. Oh, don't do that. Let's break this component up and pull this out to here. And never fear, this will make sense in a minute. All right, let's take this guy, pull this out. Yeah, I'm crossing these boundaries on purpose because I just don't want to. I'm lazy. I'm being lazy right now. Let's take this guy and pull this out this way. All right, from there, I'm going to take and draw a line right up the middle there, the middle. And let's go ahead and let's draw that line inside this component also. All right, let's delete that. Let's delete that. Delete that. Oh. All right, on this one, let's delete that. Let's take and draw a connection from here to here to here. Stand by. Stand by your man. Okay, let's delete this. Okay. Oh, got one more little. That's good. Somebody that draws on SketchUp is gonna look at this and go, "What in the world is he thinking?" Because this is not how you do it, guys. Make sure I'm not buffering. Hold on a second. Am I buffering or y'all are seeing all this? All right. So let's I now when I made a copy of these, I didn't make them unique, right? So everything I do over here gets done over there, and all that stuff. So everything is looking a little crazy right now. But what I want to do is simulate. Let me see if I can close some things off here. I want to draw a line from here to here to here. Spacebar to finish. I just want to draw an outline. That's what I want to do. All right. Needless to say, let's find my corners again. Not that one. This one here. So rather than this is a terrible drawing. Anyway, don't shoot me if you're a SketchUp user. I'm just trying to be in a hurry because I want to get to the Vectric. But anyway, instead of square up, up and down and everything, I'd like to do a little bit of compound mitering. So we're gonna have a 30-degree cut, miter cut and everything here. So the side and everything lean out 30 degrees, and then of course we would compound miter that with a 30-degree tilt, 45-degree. Miter, and have that serving tray going all the way around. Now, if you were to physically see what that actually would look like in a real world scenario, let's see here. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get this to most awful picture ever. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up an image. Come on now. See if I can. All right, so that kind of compound mitered look and everything, right? You with me on that? And where it's just kind of flared out. So we've got our little 30-degree angle and all that. I'd like to do that. No dovetail corners yet, Miter Mike. Nope. Miter Mike, welcome, buddy. But no dovetail corners. We could, with the new dovetail jig on the digital wood carver. that just came out. We can do it's a join. I don't want to call it a dovetail jig. It's a joinery jig. You can do half blind through dovetails, finger joints, mortise and tenons, decorative type joints like heart little dovetails and all that crap and stuff. But yeah, mounts right on the front of the digital wood carver to do all kinds of work, holding horizontally or vertically for carving and all. But here's our kind of flared out samples, and you're gonna say, man, that looks nothing like the SketchUp, Laney, but yeah, anyway, so that's what we're going for. All right, let's go ahead, and this is not a lesson in how to draw in SketchUp, so we are going to close that, and look at there, I was successfully updated to 9.515. I recommend everybody keep their software up to date, but let's go ahead and create a new file. Now, the base of this work area is going to be 24.5 inches. And for those of you that have the 2440 and everything, you're good to go, right? And everything, if you're going to go edge to edge and all. But keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the sides, the left and right side, the front and back side, these are going to be 4 inches by 24 and a half inches or what have you. We should be able to get those, and you can size it down within your mini carver and all. You have an 18 by 24 inch cutting area, so instead of a 24.5 inch serving tray, make it a 22.5 or a 23 inch or something. Get within your size and everything. As far as the base and everything, the bottom, should I say, where we're V-carving and everything, we can kind of focus just on the area that we're carving in. You don't need that whole work area, but just size it to fit your needs, okay? Size it to fit your needs type of deal, and your ability, not just necessarily your needs. You may need, or you may want 24.5, but your CNC can only do 24, so size it for your limits. Stay within your limits. So for me, I'm going to go 24.5 on the width, and I'm going to go 18 on the height. That's going to be my base there. And this is where we're going to do our designs. But then our sides and everything are going to get cut out of longer, narrower boards. Okay, so let's talk about the base. Now this base, I'm going to say, let's go with a 1/2 inch thick base, so we can do a little bit of V carving. We can do some not dovetails. Dang it, Mike, you got dovetails on the brain now. We can do, and speaking of dovetails, I believe next Monday is how to make dovetails in the CNC. We're going to be making dovetails, finger joints, dovetails, and different things like that, half blind and through, in the Vectric software next week. All right, so we're going to go with a 1/2 inch thick. Now I will be working on my my cam clamping jig that's going to be holding this, so I will be working on the machine bed for my Z0 position, and I will be starting in the bottom left corner for my XY datum, but you would set this up to meet your needs. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to make this a maple, and then we'll go ahead and click OK, and this will be our work area. Now I'm going to be drawing some of the parts up here that we're going to be transferring into a different size job to cut them out of. But I'm going to be drawing my parts out here for not only the base. This is going to be my base, my bottom. But I'm going to draw out my parts I need, and then I'll take those vectors into the appropriate program layout for cutting them out. But let's go ahead and kind of get things started here. Now, my ends and my sides are going to be 4 inches tall. So on my height, I'm going to go 4 inches. And so we're going to go 4 inches tall. And for the two ends, they do not need to be 24.5 inches wide. So I need 2 of these side pieces. So we're going to make a, while it's in transform mode, hold the control key down, and we're going to drag down a copy. Okay, so we're going to have 2 sides, or would you call them front and back? Let's call them front and back because we'll call the length, like we're holding it in front of us. So front and back, to us and away from us. So our front and back are going to be full length, but then our two side pieces, left and right sides, are only going to be 18 by 4 inches. So we're going to go 18 by 4. Okay, and let's kind of get this up into place somewhere. And I'm just laying these out here right now, guys. This isn't going to be the final where it's getting cut out and stuff, but I'm just kind of getting my layout and all. All right, now actually I want them to match, and I'm going to be carving handles and all that stuff in this, so I'm going to delete that one. We'll make a copy of it after the fact. All right, so let's focus on that. Let's focus on what our shape's going to be and everything. Now, I said that my hand, a good comfortable hand hole for me would be about 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and let's draw a rectangle in here. And I'm going to go 3 3/4, 3.75. And on the thickness, let's see here. What's a good raw? We'll go 1 and 3. Oh gosh, what? Let's see here. Let's go 1.5. There we go. That'll be good. All right, so I want to get this little guy. I'm going to have him selected first. I'm going to have the outer rectangle selected last. Go into the alignment tool, the last icon on the transform objects menu. And we're going to align to a selection. A selection means the last object that we selected. So I'm going to align to a selection. I'm going to center, okay, but not full center, just left and right. I want the handle to be somewhat in this general position here, but I want it centered left to right. So you had a small little shift there. So we're centered there. Now, I'm actually going to go back in there and I'm going to center it to the inside top edge like that. And then I'm going to move it down. I'd like it to be positioned. I'm going to use the move tool with just this selected. I'm going to use the move tool. And I'd like to relatively move it from its current position down. Up and down is the y-axis. So I want to go negative because we're going down. I'm going to go through. I'd like to have a good 5/8 or 3/4 inch kind of bit of meat above it. So let's go 0.625. We'll go 5/8. Okay. Now I'm going to go into node editing. That's the second icon on the edit objects first row there. Node editing allows me to take and edit this bit. And what I want is I'm just going to simply go full arc on both sides. So I'm going to right click, put my mouse right on the line. I'm going to right click and to arc. Same thing over here. Right click to arc. Okay. Create that handhold. All right. All right. Okay. So we've got a little handhold there. Now, I would like my serving tray, I got to keep in mind, whatever I do on the sides, okay, with my height and everything on the sides, whatever I do, sides, whatever I do here, as far as the shape and all that stuff, my front and back have to be that same, height if I trim this down or what have you. So we got to keep that in mind. And for this, I'm going to probably have a nice, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to go drag a guideline. Let's snap to the center here. From the center to the top, I think I'm going to have it come all the way out past my handle, maybe about a 1/2 inch, before it starts to round off, and just kind of come down. So let's go ahead and drag another guideline. I like using guidelines to help me kind of lay things out. So I'm just pulling a guideline from the ruler and stuff over here. And now I'm going to make a relative guide. Right click on your guide. So basically just hover your mouse over your guide and right click and your menu comes up. And I'm going to make a relative guide. I'm going to the left, which is a negative direction on the X. So I want to go probably from that edge, maybe about a half inch, but I think 5/8 is going to be good. I'll keep everything consistent. So I'm going to go negative 0.625. Okay, same thing over here. This time, relatively, I'm going positive. I'm going to the right. So it's a positive direction. Okay. All right. So now I kind of like this arc to just almost be about the same height as the top of my handle hold here. So what I'm most likely going to do is draw a rectangle. I like working from rectangles. And let's see, let me look at that. If that was there, that'd be a little bit of an arc. Let's go right about here. There's no rhyme or reason. It's most likely about 1/4 of an inch. We can measure that and stuff. There's no exact measurement and things. But I'm going to take, now that I have this selected, I'm going to go into node editing mode. And right here, I'm going to insert a point. Okay, right there. And same thing over here. Put my mouse right on that guide and insert a point. And that's going to give me my point of reference there. This is going to come down. And I went out beyond. I'm crossing over because we're going to end up deleting this. This will make all kinds of sense in a moment. I'm pulling this node out away so that my line can intersect my cross there, because I'm going to end up deleting those points in a moment. And does that look? That looks about level and even, right? All right, now let's clean this up. Take my scissor tool and let's trim that away over there. Take my scissors and trim that away over here. Okay. Now, I want these to match. Okay, I'd like to have, because this line's not going to be here in about 2 seconds. We're going to get rid of this bottom span here in a second. But I'd like these this curvature to match and everything. And first and foremost, on this sharp point right here where I'm kind of coming down, I'm gonna fillet. Let's do a fillet. And I would like a nice large fillet. I'm gonna probably go about 1 1/4. 1 1/4. Let's see what a 1 1/4 fillet looks like. You know, kind of like that. That's what a 1 1/4 looks like. Let's go bigger. Go bigger, go home. Let's go, let's double that. Let's go 3. Nice transition. All right, let's go over here. Okay, nice. All right, let's do some trimming. And I'm gonna smooth this out too, by the way, up here. We're gonna make that a nice little arc here in a moment. But let's do some trimming. Let me get rid of my guides because that's probably driving you nuts, those guidelines. So delete all guides. I don't need them anymore. And let's do some trim. So we're going to trim. We're going to get rid of that. Okay. And on this part here, let's go back into node editing mode. And on this part here, I'm going to go with an arc. And I'm going to pull that arc ever so. Oh, do I want to go with an arc? I really do want to go with an arc, but not like that. Let's undo that. Undo, Jacobson. I'm going to take these two guys out right here, and I'm going to lower them down. And look what I just discovered. There's a line there. I knew there was something funky going on. So let's trim that up. Get rid of that line. There we go. Now I'm going to go into node editing because something wasn't. See, I knew something wasn't right because my nodes for my radiuses weren't there. And I was like, something's going on. All right, now let's go, and I'm going to select all these and lower them down just a little bit. A little bit softer now. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to delete, or not delete, I'm going to turn this into an arc. Whoa, big old arc, not that big. And we're going to go transition to right about here. And I want that arc to actually go wider, so I'm going to actually delete this point and this one as well. And I'm going to pull that up just ever so slightly. Why, oh why? I'm not liking the transition, guys. I'm not liking the transition. So watch this. We're going to take and we're going to select this node over here to the left first. Hold down our shift key, select this node, and hit the letter Y on our keyboard to pull that into alignment. Same thing here. We're going to select the one on the right, hold down our shift key, select the one here, and hit our Y key to pull that into alignment. Pull those two into alignment. We're going to take this node over here. We're going to take this node over here, and I'm just going to hit my right arrow key, and I'm going to pull that back right about there. And I'm going to get my arc kind of where I want it. And that arc is killing me, so I'm going to go with a Bezier curve. I'm going to put a little curvature to it. Okay, watch me get my center line. Now, I got a center line. Here we go. Grab that center line and snap up to here. Right? What that does for me is, as I'm pulling this where I want and everything, because I want this kind of transition and stuff, I can get this center line, and that's going to let me go ahead and go trim, right? Trim. And then that's going to let me select this guy right here and mirror him under Transform Objects menu. Flip him about job center, not about job center. Oh, I want to just flip him. I want to create a mirror copy and flip him, not vertically, you goofball, horizontally. Nope, not that way either. Flip. To the left. Not horizontal. I want to flip them to the left. To the left. To the left. Okay. Now with that, we can go ahead and click, click, trim. Click, click, trim. Click, click. Oh, not that one. Zoom in. Click, click, click. Oh, man. Don't be doing that to me. When it wants to trim away, everything, and no matter how much you try, go back into node editing mode. We'll select these two here, and we're just going to bump them. Where's my lines at? Delete that span. Delete that span. Okay. That's what I want my sides to look like. Lord, all that just to make that side look like that. We're going to smooth that out and try to get this transition a little bit better. Which way do you guys like that? Do you like it that way or that way? There's a little hump. You see that little hump right there? Son of a gun. I got a little teardrop right there. Oh, you depraved little son of a gun. Okay. Let's go into node editing one more time. let's click on this, and got a little bit of a crisscross happening here. Let's delete that point. And what do we got going on here? Let's delete this node, or that point, sorry. Delete that point, and let's see what that ends up with. There we go. So now I gotta pull this back up after all of that. After all that mirroring and everything. Oh, pick a side. Let me get one side looking sexy. Okay, I'm happy with it. We're wasting too much time on that. All right. So with that, that's what my edge is going to look, or my end is going to look like. My handle and everything. We're not done with that. That's just the first draft. We're going to add some decorative cutouts all the way through, all the way around on some of these. So let's, but first I want to select this and hit Control, and let's make a copy of that so we've got our left and right handles. Okay. So, man, all that roundabout stuff just to get a halfway decent looking arch going on there. You just don't want it too thick here, so that, you know, when you're gripping it with your hands, it's not, you know, uncomfortable. You want it comfortable. And, you know, whatever that comfort level is. I just bumped it up too. Okay. Now on here, you know, this, I said in the video description, this was going to be a two-sided job. Now, here's your choices, okay? One, you can cut the parts out on your CNC, and then you could take them over to a miter saw or a table saw, and you can miter cut the ends, like if you want to do a nice, you know, mitered corner. And then you could add miter splines, you know, maybe if I was doing this in a, like a walnut serving tray, I might have some maple splines on those miters and everything, because the CNC doesn't, you know, it doesn't take away good old-fashioned, you know, sanding and joinery and things like that. It's just it's another tool. So it's not like every single thing, every little detail has to be done here on the CNC. So for me, especially on that compound miter, you know, that would be done on the table saw for me, after I cut the parts out and everything, the general parts and stuff. But so we can miter the edges. We can do just basic rabbet joints, right? Kind of, you know, have the side, the front and back, these two parts here, have them, you know, just go right into some rabbets on the side here. But, you know, whatever you do, just understand that you're going to have ingrain, exposed ingrain and stuff. And that might be, you know, a nice little detail for you, know. Me personally, I want it closed off. That's why I like the miter, you know, look and everything. But let's go ahead and let's dress this for success. Let's go ahead and do some nice decorative dressing. Now, got to keep this in mind. My sides need to be this tall, okay? Need to be this height here. So I'm going to go into my measure tool, and I'm going to go ahead and do a vertical measurement. And I'm going to go from here to here. All right. All right. All right. Let's watch this. Hold the shift key down, select on that measurement there, and let's change that height. Let's make that 3/4, something a little bit more. Something new as of 9 and all version 9 is being able to edit a measurement and stuff. So 3.0872. So I need to go into the size tool under transform objects, and I want to unlink my XY and 3.0872. I'm going to change the height of that part, And then the same thing here. Okay, that way my handles are sticking up above the 4 pieces around. Bam. Okay. All right, so now watching for the first time, welcome John. Amen to that, Laney. Still use all my other tools all the time. Absolutely, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, you know, the CNC is going to get me, you know, I'll be able to do my decorative V carving, my inlay, you know, my nice little lace carving that we're going to do in here and stuff. But that doesn't take away from, you know, good old-fashioned, you know, joinery. And you may not have a wood shop. You know, you might have just bought your CNC just so you can do some wood signs and carving and all that, and you have no other tools. You might have a screw gun or something like that, but you don't have any other shop tools, you know, because you didn't think you would need any, right? Because you could do everything on your CNC. That's not always the case. There's going to be some things where we do need other tools and all. But I could do the miter joints here. I could do them. I could draw out to cut miters on my end pieces and everything with my CNC and a 90-degree V-bit. Not a problem. That type of thing. But let's not, right? Let's use other tools. If that's the only way you can go, I will show you how to do that, and we'll demonstrate that in just a moment. Only on one half, but though I'm only going to show you one miter. You'll have to do the others. I'm not going to do all 4 sides. All right. So what I'd like is on these end handles and everything, I would like a nice little bit of a detailed V carving, you know, in here, kind of like a little flourish or something. And I would like that to continue all the way around to the side. So we're going to kind of decorate the outside of this this first serving tray. From there, we're going to change some things up and have, you know, we're going to be doing some decorative stuff on the bottom and all that. But let's look and see what we've got. Let's look and see what I've got as far as flourishes and things. If anything that I have will fit my, you know, my needs and stuff. So let's take and, oh, that one might be a good one. I don't know what that is looking at it right there, but that could be a good one. And got some stuff going on right here. Let's do this one. This one looks floral-y. So we're going to import a bitmap for tracing. Aw, it's kind of girly. Nothing wrong with the girls. I'm just kidding. Let's look at the other one. Let me just see what the other one was. And now that I got my curiosity up and everything. Boy, those are low quality images. You want high quality images for tracing, guys. The best you can. The biggest and the best you can get. Alright, high quality images for tracing. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom into this. We'll do some cutesy stuff here. We're going to go into our trace bitmap tool. Turn your fading off. First thing we're going to do is turn our fading off. And I'm going to go with a color trace on this, and I'm going to just start selecting off all these colors till I get a nice solid fill of red. Why am I doing a color trace instead of a black and white? Is because my eyes right now are tired, and that sliding that back and forth, I might not get the best absolute representation of fill that I want to get. But by using the trace, color trace, I can check off everything that I want to check off. I don't want to check off white, right? No, I don't want to do that. But I can make sure that every other shade gets filled in with that red and have my trace come around it. So it's actually just kind of, for me personally. But I do want, because it's not the best quality image in the world, I do want to crank up my noise filter a bit. I'm going to go probably about 7 on this and preview. There we go. And actually, I can't do that. I got to actually turn it down because it's actually skipping some stuff because of the noise. So let's try that again. Yeah, I'm going back up to 7. I've done decided. We're going to go back up to 7, and I'm just not going to trace that. Yep. Doesn't need that. Don't need that junk in there anyway. All right, we're going to click apply. Close that tool. We're going to come over here and we're going to turn off our bitmap layer. In the layers tab, we have our bitmap layer where our pixeled image is. We're going to turn that light bulb off. And now we're going to pick one. I'm going to go with these kind of tulip looking flowers right here. So all the rest of these, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup those. And I'm going to select all of these and hit delete. I'm going to select all of this and hit delete. I'm going to select this and group this together. Okay. And what I'm, oops, let me not select my, ungroup that. My handle was in there. Don't group your handle in there. Let's turn that off and now we'll group that together. And by the way, your group tools are under Edit Objects, the 4th and the 5th icon, group and ungroup. But also the letter G for group and the letter U for ungroup on your keyboard. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this guy here and I'm going to scale it up a bit. I want a little bit of a scale there, just not much. I want to leave a little bit of room at the top and the bottom. And I want to make sure it's centered. So I'm going to hold down my shift key. I'm going to grab that rectangle last, go into my alignment tool, and I want to make sure it's centered up and down. Okay, so it didn't move, so it's position centered and everything. But now I'm going to turn off that rectangle, and I'm going to use my left arrow key, and I'm going to kind of come in and pick a spot, any spot. But I'm going to be cutting half of this off because I want this to kind of wrap around. Now this is very important on if I'm going to do this, and I want to do it right to where when I glue this, when I cut this joint and glue it together, that my flowers and all line up the same. Then I'm gonna, you know, if I know that I'm going to be trimming just when I miter cut this piece, that I'm going to be trimming just a hair off here, then wherever I want to join, I'm going to kind of overhang it a bit, you know, and I'm going to pick a spot, and that's where I'm going to bring the other one to, blah blah blah. It's hard to explain, but yes, we're gonna, it really is, it's, you know what I mean. I want this to wrap, and I want it to kind of be seamless. So real quick, I'm going to take and double click on this, and I'm going to hold my control key down, and I'm going to drag a copy over. Now between the two copies and everything, between the two copies, I want to get my spacing here, and then I'm going to center everything, but I want to get my spacing here between these two flowers. These are going to kind of be the center. So now that I have them, I'm going to select these guys, holding down my shift key. I'm going to turn this off. Now this is 24.5 inches, the same as my length of my board, so I can just actually align to my material, right? And I'll be centered on this board as well. All right, with that, we're gonna click on that, hold down the control key, and I'm gonna grab this center piece here, that's the center block here, and I'm gonna snap to the center of that piece. See that crosshair, that circle with the square with the 4 points? That means I'm in the center of that piece as well. So that's gonna be my front and backs. And now I'd like my flourish to kind of come in around the corner on both sides. I don't want it around. I don't want it in the middle. I don't want it arcing over. None of that stupid stuff. I'm just going to come to a certain point on the edges and everything. On this end, I might have, you know, I don't know, an initial, a monogram, my business logo or something, or for more serving trays, call me. I don't know. But this is where I'm going to be drawing the line right here. Now, when I say draw the line, I'm going to be trimming this vector, and I do not want an open vector. Okay? I'm going to be cutting this off, and I don't want an open vector and everything. So I would like to just very simply trim it to a line, but I don't want to trim my rectangle away. I'm not, that's not my intent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this to a new layer. And this is going to be my flourish trim boundary, right? You don't have to name it, but I'm just spelling it out so you know what it is. And what the heck, we'll make it red. Okay. Now I'm going to take my flourish trim here and here. Might as well do the same thing with this. Let's copy this to that same layer. Copy to that same layer. All right, now I'm going to take my 4 flourishes. Hold down your shift key when you're selecting more than one item. And I'm going to copy them over. Actually, I'm going to just move. I'm going to move them over. Move them over to there. And that way I can turn off layer 1. All I have is my flourish trim boundary. Make sure you select on it. And these guys now can get trimmed. Let's go grab my scissor tool. I'm going to click on this and ungroup this. And everything that I don't need, I might as well select right here and delete. Okay. Now I can take my scissors and trim. This one too. Trim. All right. And then over here, we're going to trim that away. Slip slide it away. Right between here, we're going to trim that away. Right in between here, we're going to trim that away. And in between this one, we're going to trim that one away. All right, down here, we're going to trim that away. All right, we're golden. Now, okay, sexy. All right, over here, same thing. Let's go ahead and select what we don't need. Oops. Ungroup. Got to ungroup it, got to break it up. Select what we don't need here, and this one too. Hit delete. Scissor tool. Trim this away. Come on in here and trim. And then right in between, we're going to trim this bottom piece away. Right in the center there. Right in the center there. Out here. And on the other side of that stem. Okay? All right. Close that tool. All right, so now what we've done essentially is I can take this here and I can, let's make sure, who left layer 1 on? Turn layer 1 on. Stand by. Stand by your man. Everything that's black here right now, I got to select all of this because some goofball did not have the correct layers on. So I got to turn this off and this off, the red ones, right? The things that were red, that and that. And all of this stuff here, I got to make a copy back to my flourish trim boundary. Then I got to come up here and turn layer 1 off. Dadgummit. Everything should be red. There we go. All right. So now I can delete this. And I can delete that. Delete that. And I swear if I turn this back on and that rectangle's gone. Okay, I was about to say, I was about to get mad. I was like, if that rectangle is gone, I'm going to kick something butt. All right. So now I've got my, if I right click on this and select all open vectors, I have none. I do not want any open vectors. That's the goal. Okay. So now this, now that it's trimmed, right, it can go back, it can move back to layer 1 where it belongs. Bam, done. Okay. All right, same thing here. Let's get this a rocking and a cranking here. Let's go ahead and ungroup it. Let's go with our scissors here. Before we go with our scissors, let's select anything that's on the outside of the boundary that can be selected and delete. Now let's do the same other side. That way we're not using, you're not opening and closing your tools. Ungroup. Select. We don't want to keep opening and closing tools. We want to try to be proficient. And when we have a tool open, use it. Use it everywhere you need to use it. And we can trim this away. Zoom in. Trim that away. Trim that away. Trim here and above that. Done and done. Come on over to the other side. Why is that black still? We're going to find out. Trim. Trim down here. Trim here. Here. Below the stem. And then above the stem. Okay. We're going to get rid of this and this. All right, what do we got going on here? We're still good there. All right, so, dadgum. Do I have layer 1 on? Layer 1's confusing me right now because it shouldn't be active and all that stuff, but that's okay. We can turn it off, and these two guys right here, they're cleaned up. No open vectors, right? Select all open vectors. None, they're closed. So we're just going to move them back over. Move to layer 1. All right. So I have nothing left on that flourish trim boundary. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. I have nothing on my dimensions. Delete it. Turn my layer 1 back on, and there's my 2 end pieces. Okay. And these guys here, I'm going to go ahead and select them and group them together, right? There's no sense. I should have 2 items here, my border and the area that I'm going to be V-carving. So select these and group together. All right, now I want, when these end parts come into here, right, I'd like them to somewhat line up, right? So if I took this guy right here and I grouped him together as 1, and this one here as well, and I grouped him together as 1, if I took and put them in transform mode and I grab this and snap to there, right? Grab this one and snap to there. Okay. I'd like this to, take somewhat of that shape, that transitional. Now, because everything on the left is on the right, on the right, on the left, let's go ahead and ungroup this. And once again, I'm working in a different layer, not my original layer, okay? Because I'm going to be doing this on both sides. I'm trying to get it to somewhat match. It doesn't have to be perfect because they're not going to be looking at the end and the side at the same time, blah, blah, but, hey, let's do what we can. So we're going to go ahead and make a layer. And this is going to be my side flourishes, right? I'll just call it that. And I want to take my left and right, and I might as well take them all of these. And I'm going to copy them. Not copy, you goofball, copy to layer down here. Boy, it's been a long day. And I'm going to copy them to that side flourish layer. Okay? All right. Now, if I turn layer 1 off, all right, I should have all my flourishes. Excellent. Now I need to take these 2 and move them over there to that layer. All right, and turn layer 1 off for a minute. So I should have everything over here. Now my side flourish layer, I'm not going to make it red this time. It's going to stay black because that red and black was throwing me off. But what I'm going to do now is take this guy right here, because these were copies, right? So I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to move him. I want to group him together. Or which one do I want to group together? I want to group this one together. Group this one, because I'm about to lay this one up on over it. And let's see if I can get somewhat close here. You smell what the rock is cooking. All right. Now, this is about it that I'm going to go into here. I could, if I wanted to, you know, bring it over more or what have you, but no, that's it. I want it to just barely wrap around. I don't want anything in the middle area here. I just want that kind of, I want it to just wrap around. You know what I mean? Just like the vine is just kind of wrapping the sides. Now, I'm going to be trimming and mitering this. And when I go to miter cut this, I'm going to do my best not to shave off too much here on both sides, both pieces. And I am going to lose some, right? I am going to lose some. I might end up, losing a little more over here. It's not going to be exactly a perfect cut. Now, I can account for that. I can account for that by bumping this over ever so much. And then when that area gets cut off, then it's going to end up perfectly where it needs to be for this side. And the same thing over here. I could bump all of this over a little bit, however you want to do. But I don't want to make this too complicated for you because you're going to take and do whatever design you want to do. But this is what I want right here. Okay? This is my go-to. So with that, we're going to do some trimming. So we're going to take and first of all, let's deselect everything and only select what's outside of the boundary here and hit delete. This guy right here, he can be deleted. We don't need him. And that, what does that leave me? That only leaves me a few things to clean up over here. Okay, let's trim away this. Don't you give me no lip. All right, let me see. I think, is it grouped together or something? It's not grouped together. Not grouped together. Ah, you can't trim to a group, and that is grouped together. So I'm going to draw a line right here to here. Right? Because it's going to get deleted. Everything aside from the line is going to get deleted anyway. All right, trim. All right, now on this one, this is going to get closed off, so that's going to be trimmed away right here. Now you can't tell, it's hard to tell. That's why I usually do different colors, because it's on top of a black line right now. You know what I mean? But you can't tell that, it's, done. So now this guy right here, right? Do I have any open vectors? Select all open vectors. All right, so I still have one open vector, and that's because I didn't trim this line right here, that little space there. So let's get rid of him. Bam, not all of him, just him. Oh, come on now. All right, when it wants to do that, just go into node editing mode, right? And that's a span between two node points. Bam, delete the span. Okay? All right. All right, so now that should, let's go over here and let's make sure that we are joined together. That's what our join tool is. So there's still two open vectors, okay? And it's not letting me join. See that? There's no join button here. So what that means is we're going to take and we're going to we're going to move this back to layer 1 for a moment. That way I can see clearly. Right there. When I trimmed, I got rid of the whole line, right? So I'm going to take this, join with a straight line, close it off. I'm going to take this, join with a straight line, close it off. I should have no open vectors. Okay? So if I go selection, select all open vectors, there should be none. All right, same thing down here. And this guy now, he can be moved back to layer 1. Get rid of them. I'm only using this side flourish layer just to help me lay out all of my stuff. So ungroup. Why do these layers keep coming back? I don't know if I've got a setting to all right, that one should be done. This one, I'm going to actually, instead of using the ungroup, I'm going to go ungroup onto groups layer, right now. Not the original layer, groups layer. This layer right here. Okay. That is a big key thing because it was becoming a pain in the butt. So groups layer means the layer that it's on. The active layer that it's on, that's what we're ungrouping to. And using just the ungroup tool, it was putting it back on the original layer, which was causing us a little bit of a headache. All right, so let's get this somewhat into position. Again, these are copies, that's why it's identical. Right there. All right, with that, I'm going to take and draw a line here to here. Spacebar to finish. That line, because this is a grouped object right here, you can't trim to a grouped object, so I'll be trimming to the line that's here, that little guy right there. So let's trim. Don't give me no sass. All right, I got another object below here. Bear with me a moment. We don't need all that. Don't need all of that. Okay. Trim. Get rid of that. Get rid of that, that, and that. Now, down here, trim this away. Gone. You can't tell it's gone yet, but it is. Over here, trim. Here, one click. Here, one click. Up here, one click. All right, so that should have taken this guy right here, and it should have closed him off all the way around, and I should have no open vectors. Okay, excellent. So now these two guys right here can get moved back to layer 1. I can get rid of this side flourish layer. I'm only using the layers to help me create things. And now these two parts here, I'll go ahead and group them together for right now, just for a moment. They're going to be ungrouped here in a second. But let's take this one, group all that together, group that together for a minute, and I'm going to just kind of move these up. Now, I'm almost 100% certain that these flowers and everything here and here in stems are exactly the same on the left side as they are the right side. Okay? 100% confident they are. Let me ungroup this. And let me take this one. Move that up. Let me take this one. Move that up. Okay. I am 100% confident that that is, you know, the same on this side, so I'm not going to go through that whole process again. I'm just simply going to take and I'm going to draw a line. Right, I'm going to find the center. Find the center. 90 degrees down. These two should be centered. If I grab this one and this one, bear with me. So, oh, you son of a gun. Group that together. Select this and group this together. If I take and select both of these, and I use my alignment tool and I align them side to side, they're even. Okay, so that should be my center on both. Now, what I'm going to do very simply is this. I'm going to take and select these two items. I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to select that line. And I'm going to open up my mirror tool, and I'm going to make a mirrored copy and flip it about that line. Okay? Okay. All right. Now. All right, so this is going to be my first serving tray. This is going to be the front half. And now you have a question. Now you have something to, because these do not need to be cut out of a frigging 18-inch wide board, right? Come on. We don't have to go do that. We don't have to go try to find some kind of special customized 18-inch board and all. They're going to most likely get cut out of a, you know, let's see here. Let's see what the height of it is. So this one is got a height of 6.5 inches. This here has got a height of 9 5/8, a little over 9 5/8. But let's take this off. That's 18 inches. I've got 24. I'm trying to make it where I don't have to do any tiling and all that stuff. But yeah, we're good. 1 by 12, whatever it may be. But again, I can select this. Let's group. Why are you not selecting? Stand by. Ungroup. Ungroup. That's one group right there. I'm grouping these all separately now. These guys here are grouped together. Those are grouped together. So, you know, if I was cutting these out of if I had, you know, the room on my CNC, I could cut them out, you know, side by side. What's the height of that right there? That's 4 inches. So 1 by 5, a 1 by 6 or something. I can cut 2 fronts, 2 backs. If I wanted, you know, maple and walnut combination, if I wanted cherry and, you know, Paduke, whatever, you know, or I could stack them, you know, and cut them out of a 1 by 10, right? Type of thing, whatever you want to cut them out of. But we are going to, I'm going to come in and change my job size up in a moment, but let's take this and this, and let's copy this. I'm going to right click on my Vectric and open up a second instance. And then I'm going to go into create a new file. This is going to be the board that I'm cutting things out of. So most likely, I mean, you know, if you have a 24-inch cutting area on your mini carver, use your, you know, stay within your cutting area, right? I have a 40-inch cutting area on my 2440, so I'm most likely going to cut this out of a 36-inch board or something like that. And as far as the width, I'll probably take this a 1 by, I don't know, 1 by 6, which would be 5.5 or 5 1/4. 1 by 6 is 5 point, I think it's 5 1/4. 5.25. Somebody let me know if they know off the top of their head. Now, this board is going to be 1/2 inch thick material, right? You know, it's So I'm going to be, planing it down. If I can't find the material already 1/2 inch thick, then I'm going to, mill some of it off. Or I'm going to decide, do I want thicker walls on my serving tray type of thing and keep it at 3/4. But I'm going 1/2 inch, so that's what we're doing. All right, so with that, I'm going to come over here and click OK on this, and I'm going to click Paste. Okay. Now, these pieces here, okay, 1, 2, 18 inches, right, or 24 inches here. This is 18, right? 18 and 24 is 24 and 8's 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 52 inches. Did I get that right? 18 plus 24. So I'm not going to be able to cut both of, one and one of these. 18 and 18 is 36 inches, right? So I'll be able to do those two. So let's move these off to the side for a minute. Let's take these two guys here. Let's stick one here. $38. Gotta go 38. Okay. And wherever you want to put them, that's all that. Now, this is where you got to decide, is this going to be a one-sided job? How are you going to do your joints? Are you miter cutting them? Are you going to do rabbets? What have you? If this was going to be a two-sided job, then I'd be carving my V-carve on one side, and then I would be flipping this over and doing my rabbet or whatever joint on the back side. And that's a simple pocket cut with a rectangle and stuff. I'm going to be mitering. So I'm going to take, and we're going to, remember I told you I'd show you how to do a miter, on a part like this. And I'll do that in just 2 seconds. But I'm going to miter cut this. But first and foremost, we're going to make this layer 1. Okay. And then I'm going to turn I'm going to make this layer 2. Okay. And with layer 2, I'm most likely going to have to carve one piece out at a time because I'm not going to have enough room. And this board does not need to be at that point. That's why I start from the bottom left. I'll just cut off the end of what I don't need, out of my board or what have you. Or I use a wider board, whatever the case may be. All right. Let's do our V carving. All right, on this design here, we're going to start off with a V-carve toolpath. I'm going to go at 0, start at 0. No flat depth. There's not anything in here that warrants a flat depth. We're going to ungroup this object here. Don't ungroup back onto the wrong layer like I just did. Turn that layer off and make sure that the layer that you're working in is active. And then I'm going to ungroup to the groups layer, under the groups layer here, this layer, because I do not need my border yet. All right, let's do a V-carve. I'm going to use a 60 degree. Now something like this, 60 degree will probably do okay, but because it is small, a 22.5 degree would probably be a nice bit. I may have to, with it only being a 1/2 inch thick, if I use a 22, I'd have to most likely put a flat depth in there. With the 60 degree and this small stuff, I shouldn't have to do that at all. Now, there's duplicate vectors. They're being ignored. What that means is, if I ungroup this, I don't know why I'm up here. Don't do what I just did. And what I just did was I ungrouped this. Turn that layer 1 off. Oh, you son of a... Move this back to layer 2. That always make sure your layer is active when you're working in it, man. That's my biggest thing that I do. I always forget sometimes, and it throws me off. All right, calculate this. This is going to be, left side, right side, or front, back. Now you see those duplicate vectors. What that's saying is that within my design, I have vectors on top of vectors. They're identical. They're duplicates. We don't want duplicate vectors, and the reason why I have duplicates is because of all that grouping and ungrouping, and then not on the right layer and all that stuff, and it was it caused that. So what I'm going to do is I'm very simply going to right click and select all of my duplicates, all of them, and I'm going to hit delete. Done. Okay, so now I can V-carve. All right, so if we preview this selected toolpath, I have a nice little floral pattern. I am in my simulation here. I'm at very high, so this is about a 98% representation. So if we look at some of these shallow areas here, so still carving about 3/8 of an inch deep, and you can see that at the bottom right of the screen. So if I move my mouse in the cut, 0.37, 0.375, 3/8 of an inch deep. So there's some depth in there. That's going to be good detail. It's not going to be too shallow and very faint and all that stuff. So I'm at 0.4. I've got some depth to these vines. So those will be nice detail and everything in there. Remember, this is going to get mitered and cut off and everything, for this piece here and all. And it would most likely, I wouldn't probably be cutting it out of a long board like that. I would cut it out of something more appropriate size and all. And hell, if I was, I might even just take and cut my boards and miter them down or whatever, beforehand, and then carve those parts on. You never know. But nevertheless, that would be one. And then we'll have a profile cut, right? This piece would get profile toolpath, each of these pieces. So we'll do all the way through 0.5 using a 1/4 inch end mill. Now, most likely going to want a couple of tabs to hold that part in, right? Unless you're using something like double-side tape or what have you. In my case, I'll add a couple of tabs. They're going to be a 1/4 inch wide, about a 1/16 of an inch thick, not very thick at all. And we'll just throw one here on this end that's getting mitered, and one here. And we'll calculate that. Preview that toolpath. Right, we have those little tabs holding it in. That would be one of our side pieces and everything. Now, here's the thing. Okay, my bottom, right? The bottom of my tray. I want the bottom of my tray going in here. How is it going to connect? I would like to rabbet this on the back side for the bottom of my tray to assemble into, right? And everything. So me personally, I would do a 2-sided job on this, or I'm going to do my rabbet cut on the table saw when I do my miter cuts and stuff. Again, but if we don't have a table saw, we got to know how to do this. So I am going to take the time and I'm going to switch this over to a 2-sided job. And I will be flipping this board along the y-axis. And I will be touching off on my machine bed for both sides. My Z0 position, I'll be touching off on my wasteboard. So I'm going to click OK. Yes, I'd like to recalculate that now. Okay. All right. Now, for this, I'm going to be flipping it over now. Let me make some alignment holes. So I'm going to take and make a 1/4 inch diameter hole in no particular place, just in the waist area somewhere. So we'll throw one there. And then somewhere over here, doesn't have to be symmetrical, you know, and stuff. We're going to go 0.25. That's where my alignment pins are going to be. Okay, so let's create a toolpath for that. Now, a drilling operation with a 1/4 inch hole, there may be some, depending on your CNC and stuff, there may be a little bit of deflection. And your 1/4 inch hole might be, if you ever notice that your holes are a little loose and things and everything, it's because when that bit, that end mill, you know, it's not a drill bit, it's an end mill. When it's going in, when that first bite, it gets a little bit of a wobble to it, you know, a little bit of it moves, it deflects. And if you want a really nice tight hole, instead of a drilling operation, do a pocket cut with an undersized bit, like a 3/16 inch end mill or you know, 1/8 inch and all, to get that perfect pocket cut, you know, if you wanted to. In my case, I'm not too really worried about deflection or anything like that, so I'm going to do a drilling operation, and I'm going to be cutting 0.3 inches deep. Not all the way through, just partially. And let's select both of my alignment holes. It's going to be side 1 alignment holes. Man, $8.50 just to get this one thing done. What's that? I should have had all these drawn out and prepared for you. All right, so that's going to be the very first toolpath most likely that I'll run. Or I'll do it when I do my profile cut, so we'll do that. It'll be the second thing I do. All right, so with the alignment holes, you know, they'll be drilled in. And then, of course, the V-carve, that would be my decorative V-carve, blah, blah, blah. When it's done, then I'm going to flip that board over, okay? Flip the board over. Now let's take these two guys here and make a copy of them. Copy to other side. Okay? The software will put them in the correct position based on the way it's flipping, and I'm flipping along the Y, top to bottom basically. So now let's move to the other side. Got our alignment holes, we can see our geometry and all that stuff. We can see our profile cut. Now here's the deal. Let's go back to that side. And on that profile toolpath, I'm not going to cut the profile toolpath all the way on this first side. That would be foolish of me. So let's go 1/4 inch deep. Calculate. All right. Now let's go over to the other side. Okay. All right. Making a copy of that border on the other side as well. Okay, now, when I flip this over, okay, when I flip this over, this is my bottom down here, or up here, should I say, right? Because my flowers, I want them facing down, you know, on my front side. So this is the bottom when I flip that board. So I'm going to put in my rabbet joint. It's going to be a rectangle. Now for my rabbet, the width, which is the height basically, is going to be the thickness of my board, 1/2 inch thick. Okay. Now the cut depth is only going to be about 1/4 inch. So, all right. Now I want my rabbet to be nice and clean, so I'm going to make it longer than my board is, you know, than my piece is. I'm going to make it longer. I want that bit to have to go past. Even here, notice how I'm not right there on that edge and everything. I'm a little past it and stuff. So that 1/2 inch is actually going to be like a 0.625. Here, let's do it this way so you understand what's happening here. On this 1/2 inch, right? The position where it should be, I'm going to take this side here and I'm going to pull it just past the board a little bit. What this is my butt bit's going to be pocketing this out, and I want a nice, clean, flat rabbet. I don't want little curves where the radius of my bit is. If I don't let it go past, I'll have a curve right here that I'll have to use a chisel to clean up, or a razor knife or something, you know. And the same thing here. I don't want a little lip or little fuzzies or whatever on the end here. So this is going to be a pocket toolpath. It's going to go 1/4 inch deep for me, and I'm going to be using that same 1/4 inch end mill. All right. If we were doing rabbets for joinery and stuff, we would put a little rabbet here on each end as well. But again, I'm mitering, so I don't want to. All right, so we're gonna calculate that. Now you see that way that bit direction is going? It's going along the y-axis, back and forth, real tight, ridiculous to do. So that was on me. See this 45-degree angle raster? No, we're gonna offset this. We're gonna let it go around and around and just kind of clean out. We could let it raster, either way, raster cut, but at a 0 angle, not a 45-degree type of deal. But we'll do offset. We'll let it just go round and around. So calculate that out. Okay. And all right, now our profile cut. This is going to be a profile cut cutting the rest of the way through, 1/4 inch through on that 1/2 inch board. On the outside, we're going to add some tabs, right? The tabs are still there where I had them because I copied this vector from the other side after calculating the toolpath. So we can calculate that. Okay. Now, the first thing that's going to happen, these two guys right here, and I don't know why I always make my alignment holes last, but let's drill this. This time I'm only going 1/4 inch deep inside of my waste board, and I'm going to peck and everything. This is going to be my waste board alignment holes. We're going to answer questions before we move on to the next design. So we'll preview that. Okay. Now that's going to be the very first thing. So let's do this in order. So we've got a board here, blank board. We're going to do a V-carve cut first. All right. That cut is going to do my V-carve design. I'm going to change out my bit to my 1/4 inch end mill, and it's going to do the alignment holes and the profile cut halfway through. So that's going to be that job, or that half. Okay. And then we're going to flip the board over, and notice how it's already cut on the other side because I didn't reset the preview. Do that one more time. V-carve, drill the alignment holes, bam bam, pocket cut halfway, or profile cut, sorry, halfway through. We're going to flip the board over. Now when we flip the board over, we're going to move the board out of the way, and we're going to drill our alignment holes. Okay, now this bit is already touched off on the bottom of the board, right? Z0. Okay? Z0. Now, I have this cutting 1/4 inch deep. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when I go to carve this? Right? What's going to happen is that bit is going to raise up from 0 1/2 inch up. Right? 1/2 inch up. And it's going to come down and drill 1/4 inch, right? I don't have a board there. I'm carving on my waste board. So it's going to drill air, nothing, right? So on my waste board alignment holes, because my waste board is 0, and when I drew these holes and I created the toolpath that was on top of this board, I have to start at a 1/2 inch, the thickness of my material, and I'm drilling 1/4 of an inch, my wasteboard holes. All right. Yep. 7.75, because it's going to raise up. It's going to drill, air, because there's not going to be a board there, down to a 1/2 inch, and then it's going to go 1/4. Well, it's going to just start at the bottom of this board basically and carve that 1/4 inch deep. So we got to start, or else it's going to carve air, and you're going to be like, dude, I'm carving air. What's up with that? Why is it carving air? I don't understand. I got to call Laney. Well, that's because your board's not there. You're carving on your wasteboard. All right, so we're going to drill those holes first. Bam. Okay. In the wasteboard. And then we've got our pocket cut and our profile cut. Okay. All right. Now, let's go ahead and turn off the tabs. All right, we got tabs. You can see there's tabs there and all that stuff. Let's turn off the tabs for this side. Turn off the tabs for this side. All right, let's preview that toolpath on this side. Get rid of those tabs. And on the other side, get rid of those tabs. The reason why I'm getting rid of the tabs is so I can remove this piece here, this scrap piece, so we can see our part. All right. So we've got our side piece here, and it's got the rabbet on the bottom side, that when the 4 pieces, the 2 sides, the front and the back, get mitered and glued together, we have a rabbet for our bottom of our tray to be glued into. Okay. All right, so that's what one of our sides would look like with this little, decorative little flourish thing. And it could be whatever, whatever design you want. I just happened to grab what I had. Let's see here. Debbie says, could you have just used the part you trimmed away and moved it to the end piece instead of deleting it and moving the piece over? Sure, I could have. I could have done the nodes. What Debbie's saying is on the part. Let me flip back over to the top side here. On the original part, when I trimmed that overhang off here, right? When I trimmed all this away, couldn't I have just taken that and moved it over to my end pieces, since I was doing that anyway? Absolutely. I could have come over here and I could have went into node editing. I could have cut the vector, here and here and all these places and everything, and I could have taken that whole thing, and moved it over to the front and back. Absolutely, without a doubt. Sure could have. But, me being me, I'm going to do it the long way. But yes, Debbie, you absolutely could have. All right, so now let's turn off layer 2, and let's go there with layer 1. All right, for layer 1, we've got a, let's ungroup this. Oh, geez. Hold on a second. Make sure the layer that you're working in is active. Very important. Okay, turn off layer 2. All right, I'm going to ungroup this. This one too. All right, so on this one, same thing. These guys here. And what Debbie's saying is, hey, that part you cut off, couldn't you just take it and moved it over to here? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so on this, we do our V-Carve toolpath. This is going to be the V-Carve sides V-Carve, right? We'll just call it that. And calculate that. 40 duplicate vectors. That's those duplicate vectors. And by the way, how you see a duplicate vector is if I select on this, all right, and you're not seeing any, you're seeing that white dotted line, right? Nothing behind it. Nothing but net, right? So if it's saying that I have duplicate vectors, where are they at? Well, look at these guys over here. See how it's a black line behind the pink? That means there's a vector behind there. So what do? We right click, select all duplicate vectors, and just hit the delete key. Done. All right. Calculate that V-Carve toolpath. Reset the preview, preview the selected toolpath. Okay, that's going to be our little V-Carve little flourish dealy. All right, now we've got it's still set up as a two-sided job and everything. And now for this, my holes, right? My alignment holes can be anywhere I want them to be. You know, because I'm going to be clamping this board down. The alignment holes are just for alignment purposes only. So I'm going to put one here. Okay, we'll put a 1/4 inch hole there. And then I'm going to go, we'll go right here. All right. They don't have to be anywhere special. All right, so these two guys here, these two holes, that's going to be a drilling toolpath for me. 1/4 inch, let's go 0.3. This is on the top of the board. And this is going to be my sides, right? Sideboard alignment holes. All right, that'll be the first one that gets done on that. Well, no, let's move it down. We'll do the V-Carve first, then the alignment holes, because we're going to be doing in-mill pocket cuts and profile cuts and all that stuff next. All right. So now we've got, let's ungroup this. Let's ungroup this. All right, so we've got two holes here, or two profile cuts, should I say. So we're going to take and select all of these, and we're going to do a profile toolpath. I'm going to only go halfway through because it's going to be a two-sided job. I've got to cut my rabbet on the bottom of these, you know. So I'm just going to go halfway through. So end mill on the outside of the line. We're going to add tabs, right, just like we did before. And since these ends are getting mitered, I'm going to throw a tab here, 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 and here. I will probably put a tab here and here and here, right, somewhere in there. And let's call it a day with that and click calculate. All right, it's saying that the selected vectors contain a group of open contours. Okay, this will be cut as individual contours and not as a singular contour. So let's find out what is happening here. So if I were to select all open vectors, right? My outside profile is open. The reason why it's open is because that when I was making my arch and stuff, I didn't, you know, close it very well. So I'm going to go to the join, and I have two open. So if I just click join, it'll have two closed. So that'll close up. Same thing over here. I've got 1 and 1. So they're closed already. And let's select this. Let's make sure there's nothing there. 2 and 2. 1 and 1. 2 and 2. Good. So let's select them one more time. And edit my tabs. And calculate. All right, now the software is smart enough to know that I'm cutting on the outside of the line for the outside vectors. But for the inside vectors, I'm cutting on the inside of the line. So it'll automatically reverse it. It's smart enough to realize that. And if you're going to put an alignment pin in the middle of a handle hole, make sure your bit's not going to hit it, right? And I got plenty of room for it to cut. All right, so we've got that. So we'll preview that toolpath. Okay. All right, now we're going to come back over and I need to take, while I have these selected, I need to take and make a copy to the other side. Same thing with my alignment holes. Make a copy to the other side. And guys, the reason why, you know, the alignment holes are where they are is just, you know, any open space, but these are alignment holes, not clamping. They're not used for clamping. They're just to get everything in alignment. You still use your mechanical clamps to hold the part down. So now on the other side, all right, we've got our parts here. I got to put my rabbets in. And so I'm going to just freaking take and draw a rectangle. Not there, I clicked to the wrong place. Hold on a second. Right there is where I want to snap to. All right, on this end, I want to just come past a little bit. Okay. All right. Notice how my line is on this line here, but as I come over here, this one's not. So that little stretch in that rectangle all the way across is not going to work for me here. So I've got to just do one at a time, which is fine. And again, just so the bit can go past and not leave a nice flat spot. All right, I'm going to hold down my control key and just drag a copy over to this one. Okay. Now, my height on this, my size, right, is very important. Very, very important. It's going to be 0.5 inches to, oh geez, don't do that. Unlink the XY, ½ inch. ½ inch rabbet. Okay. This guy wasn't a ½ inch, I bet you, dadgummit. Dadgummit. Let's see here. Let's go right there, and he was 3/4. I don't want that 3/4, I want that ½ inch. 0.5. Been a bad day if I'd have done that. I'd have been mad. All right. So ½ inch, just a little bit of overhang on this side. ½ inch, just a little bit of overhang on this side. And then also on both sides there. And I'm holding the shift key so it does both sides at the same time. All right, so let's take and let's create our, we need our wasteboard alignment holes for this one, for our sideboard. Notice I didn't copy those circles over. So let's go back over here and grab those. Copy to the other side and flip it around. All right, these are going to be our alignment pin holes for the wasteboard. They're going to go only 1/4 inch deep or whatever. I just go 1/4 inch deep in my wasteboard. And these are going to peck, and this is going to be my sideboard slash wasteboard. Not slash, let's do an underscore. Alignment holes. And once again, alignment holes, once again, I need to start at a ½ inch because I'm working from the 0 as the bottom of my board. So I'm drilling into my wasteboard. So it's going to raise up above my board and it's going to cut down only 1/4 inch deep in the air if I don't start at a ½ inch down. So we'll calculate that. And then finally, we will take our rabbets here. That'll be a pocket cut, 1/4 inch deep. And then finally, our profile toolpath, 1/4 inch deep outside. Add tabs. The tabs will pop up automatically because these were copied from the other side after the toolpath was created on the other side. So we'll click calculate on that. And for this, I will turn off the tabs. So let's turn off the tabs so we can see the cut. Same thing with the other side. Let me turn off the tabs. All right, let's preview those visible toolpaths on this side. Done and done. Flip the board. These visible toolpaths on this side. The drill hole, alignment hole. Pocket cut. Profiles. All right, then I can get rid of my waste. Okay, and I got my two sides. Now, this is a very simple serving tray. The sides get mitered now, glued together, bottom goes in. Speaking of bottom, rock bottom, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is on these here, I am going to export the DXF in case anybody wants those DXF files. I'm going to export this out as a serving tray. Okay. All right. Once I've done that, now I can go ahead and delete those. All right. The bottom. We gotta have the, we gotta do some decorating and stuff on the bottom. Now keep this in mind. If I draw this box here, this rectangle, if I outline my boundary here and I offset that inward, right? Offset that inward 1/4 inch with square corners all the way around. This is where my side pieces are going to be, where my board is going to be covered, right? So that leaves all of this area here. That leaves all this area here for whatever, inlays, V-carves, you could do, shoot, it could be a serving tray for your favorite sports team, whatever the case may be. I'm going to do an inlay. I'm going to do a V-carve inlay. And I'd like to have something that somewhat resembles or plays a role with that outside vine, right? So like a tulip or something. So let's go ahead and let's see what I have in my arsenal of tools for a tulip. So we're going to go into my Seagate. We're going to go to a Simple Design CAD and okay. If I don't have anything, then I'll simply go grab something. All right, yep, let me grab something real quick. Stand by. Oh, that would actually make a nice intarsia piece or inlay. So we'll grab that, save image. You can't see what I'm grabbing. We'll grab it in just a minute. All right, so let's go ahead, and that went into downloads. And it was called Decorative. All right, show in folder. Come on now. All right, that went into desktop like a goofball. Why did it go into desktop? Okay, it went into my desktop. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and let's trace this out. Let's turn the fading off. Gonna start selecting all of these colors. Once again, I could use the slider bar black and white trace option, but when it's late in the evening and everything, your eyes are tired, it's best to just fill in, right? So I know everything is getting selected there. Turn my noise filter up just a little bit and preview, apply, close. All right, turn off the bitmap layer, ungroup the image, select and delete. Okay, now first things first, this is going to be the center of my serving tray. I want to center it on my material. Okay, and that's all it is. Very simple and nice little really nice contrasting inlay. If I wanted to get fancy, right, I could do multiple colors, and all that stuff, but no, I'm not. It's going to be like a, it'll be maybe like a nice, I don't know. It'll be nice. Maybe a little walnut inlay or something like that. But heck, I mean, I could get crazy. I could do cherry, walnut, and maple. I could really kind of, I could get green wood, for the green flowers. I could paint, you know what I mean? I could get nuts, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just do a very simple inlay. Now, this is going to be a V-carve inlay, guys. V-carve inlay. So what that means is I need to make a copy of this to another layer. And the layer is going to be my Mel V-carve inlay. Okay. And the Mel V-carve inlay, it's going to get carved out of another piece of wood, right? Not this one, but another one. All right. So we're going to turn it off for right now. Okay. So we're going to make a copy, and then we'll deal with that copy in a moment. But over here, we're going to come over and we're going to do a V-carve toolpath. Start depth. Okay. Start depth. This is the female pocket. The start depth is going to be 0. My flat depth. Now my V-bit, my 60-degree V-bit only has a 0.2 cutting flute. Okay, 0.2 inches cutting flute. So I'm not going to go beyond that. All right. So I'm going to most likely 0.2 is going to be my depth of cut maximum. All right. Now 60-degree V-bit. No flat area clearance tool necessary. But it might make things a little quicker than my V-bit trying to flatten all this out. So let's go ahead and use what we got. I'll use a little 1/8 inch end mill and calculate. I'm going to offset this one. I'm going to let it run offset instead of raster. So calculate, because it's going to get filled in. I'm not worried about carving with the grain and everything and all that stuff. So we're going to preview that cut. Okay. All right, that's the female. Now 0.2, magic number, right? That's the cut depth, 0.2. So now we're going to turn off that layer and we're going to turn the male on. Now with the male piece, the male part, he is, let's look at his size, her size, his size, whatever. It's about 13 inches by 11, right? So it's got to be cut out of something that size, right? A little bit bigger. And so I'll just leave my board this size. That'll be fine. And with the male, we're going to put a boundary around it. Okay? Going to put a boundary around it. Going to put a ring on it. No, I'm going to put a boundary on it. Now, what this is this boundary is going to make everything reverse because I'm going to be carving between these lines and everything. But before I go carving this, it's think of a sandwich, right? Let's see if I can illustrate this. So we got two boards. All right, let's see if we can illustrate this. And let's see if I can. We got two boards, right? Male, female. Now, female is going to be cut down. The male is going to be, raised up. Whatever the design is, right? It's going to be raised up. Whatever it may be. Okay. Now, the female, on the other hand, let me mirror this. Oops, I don't want to make a mirror copy. Female, on the other hand, is going to be carved in. Right? Right. Now, of course, it's carving through the wood. We don't want that. But anyway, you get the idea. So now, this bad boy right here, that male, he's going to get flipped over stand by. I got a drunken part here. Okay. So he's going to get flipped over and, they're going to fit in together, right? Now, of course, when they fit in together, there's going to be a small gap, between the two and everything. But we got like a sandwich, closing up a sandwich and all, right? So what that means is that my design here, and let's turn off layer 1 for a minute. Stand by there, Junior. Move to male layer. Always make sure your layer is active when you're working in it. I say that all the time because it's me reminding myself. All right, so since it's got to be mirrored, right, we've got to mirror this. We got to flip it. We're not going to make a copy. We're not, you could do it about job center, right, because we're in the center. So we'll flip it horizontally. Okay. Now, when we do the V-carve on this, both of these are going to get selected. And when we do the V-carve toolpath, 0.2 was our goal, right? That's what we cut to. So for this, you normally would go like a 0.1 and 0.1, blah, blah, blah. But, well, we're going to get a big glue gap in there if we do that. So I'm going to go with a 0.17 with a cut depth of 0.03. All right, this is going to be 0.17 plus 0.03 equals 0.20. Okay, our goal and everything. And by having a greater start depth and a smaller flat depth, that's going to reduce my glue gap. That's going to reduce the space in between my that air gap space between my male and female and everything, so I get a nice better fit. And you know, if I did want to do some additional stuff with it, I'm not going to have these big voids in my inlay and everything. So once again, 60-degree V-bit. The end mill is not necessary. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat. You could let your V-bit just run wild on this if you wanted to, but I'll do the tool change. It's not a big deal. So we'll click calculate on this. All right. So let's turn this off for a second. So the female is here, right? We got the female pocket. Reset this. And when we carve the male out, okay, we end up with the male version. Then we're going to go ahead and cut this out, right? We're going to take it over to our bandsaw, our table saw, our skill saw, whatever saw that we're using, and we're going to cut off all those high edges. So I'll simulate that with a profile toolpath. We're going to cut off all those high edges there and get rid of them. All right. So we end up with a piece like this, and this piece is going to get laid over. It's going to get glued and laid over and pressed into that female pocket. And then when it's all said and done, we could even take the whole tray back over to our CNC and mill off the top surface, right, to where our inlay is filled and everything. And, you know, Bob's your uncle. You know, do some sanding and all that stuff. But, yeah. So let's take a look at what this would look like if we preview the visible toolpath there. V-Carve Inlay. If you haven't done a V-Carve Inlay yet, you need to do one. You need to do one. Have some fun with it and, you know, play around. Let's see here. Got to use your imagination. Imagine that's the inlay, right, or something, whatever. But that would make for a nice, you know, contrasting in the middle of that tray when we have our two sides, you know, our two end pieces here that's going to be on the edges with that same kind of tulip little flower, you know, and vine all the way around. And, you know, that would be a very basic serving tray for you. Okay. Yes. All right. Yep. All right. So Miner Mike asks a great question. Everybody gets a little bit confused. Everybody gets a little confused. How are those alignment holes going to work if we flip the piece to cut the back side? All right. Let me go through and explain this the best that I can. Okay. I'm going to try to simulate this in a in this gray space here. All right. So this is our table. Okay? This is our table. This is our project board. And let's kind of look down at, we'll draw three different views here. All right, so this is looking down at, you know, right straight on kind of along the y-axis, right? And then let's kind of get an overhead view, right? Let's say that this is my waste board and this is my project board here. Okay. All right. Now, my first set of holes on the top of my board are going to get cut into my project board on one end or the other, right? About 0.3 inches deep. Okay. So that'll be simulated by, let's see here, by that hole there and that hole there. Okay. Now, when I mirror those holes to the other side, when I mirror them to the other side of my board, okay, it automatically, depending on how I'm flipping the board, it automatically puts them in the correct position. It mirrors them. So if I were to take and mirror this, let me make a copy of them first. Control, here, let me close this for a minute. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. There we go. All right, let me mirror this, and I'm going to flip them horizontally. Let's not flip about job center. Let's just flip them horizontally. Okay. All right, now let's take this one, and this one, and group those together. Okay, now I drill those holes. I carve the top side of my board. When my board is done, I go ahead and I move that board out of the way. I've got my other two holes that I bring into my design, that toolpath for the other two drilling operation that's been mirrored, and I'm going to be mirroring, I'm going to be cutting those holes 1/4 of an inch deep into my waste board. Okay? Then I'm going to take my board and I'm going to flip my board, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to have a 1/4 inch dowel, or 1/4 inch, I use shelf pins. I'm going to have them sticking out of these holes here. And let me see if I can, hold on, we're going to do the side view too. So let's take and mirror that bad boy. Okay. And let me take this and hold down my control key, and that's going to be my shelf pins sticking out of my holes and everything. Okay, so I'm going to take that board, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to drop it right on those shelf pin holes. So I'm going to take my board once again, and I'm going to drop it on to those shelf pin holes, right? In that perfect alignment position. Let me get perfectly aligned here. Okay. And that's going to align my board up where it needs to be so I can carve the other side. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. And then, of course, those alignment pin holes are not for clamping. They're just for aligning the board to make sure it gets perfectly aligned. It's perfectly aligned off of the X and Y for that position and everything. All right. Yeah. No, you don't go through the board into the spoil board. You can, but then you're limited to having to do that other side of that job right then and there on that X and Y. By doing it this way, I could do side 1 today, and I could do side 2 3 weeks from now. Doesn't matter. I could re-zero out my machine, and I'm always working off a 0. Those 2 holes that are getting cut in the waste board are getting cut on the current XY that I set up on my machine at that moment. And then since they're in perfect alignment with this, when I drop this board on, I'm working off of that same XY and carving. Okay? All right. Right, exactly. No problem. All right, so we've got, let's take that. All right, but V-Carve Inlay, so we've got our 2 side pieces and everything, and we've got our inlaid part, for a nice, just a nice little, sexy little serving tray, little tulip, little girly stuff. You could, we could put a bulldog in there for you boys. Or a jackhammer or something like that. Make it a little manly serving tray, who knows. But, you know what I mean. Now, for our serving trays, okay, let's go back to our other pieces here. All right. And let's flip this back over to side 1, and let's turn this layer off and turn this layer on. All right, setting aside, and I believe I made copies of these. I had all these vectors copied, but just in case, I'm going to export these vectors out. And they're going to go into my, oh man, where was that folder at that I was just in? Shoot, can't remember what folder I was in. That's all right. We're going to create a new folder. We'll call this our, it was a serving tray folder. I know I just named it, but I don't remember what folder it was in. I'll have to find it later. Ain't got time for that. Ain't got no time for that. All right, basic tray size. Or no, we'll call that front and back. Front and back. Basic trays, front and back. And then let me go ahead and, just keep things together. Let me take this and let me export that out. And we'll put that as a basic tray. Sides, and of course this needs to be over there, and that needs to be in there as well. Come on. All right, just so I have them, for anybody who wants them later. Okay, so now let's go back and let's look at our sides here and stuff, and think about this. Okay, forget the V carving, right? Let's get rid of the V carving. I can do that now that I've gotten rid of them. Okay, let's get rid of that. I don't want to get rid of my alignment holes. We'll keep those. All right, so instead of a just a simple V carve and all, what about like a see-through pattern and stuff? And let's say that we wanted to, what would be the best way to do this? What would be the best way to do this? Let me take and let's go with, oh, you son of a gun. Language, this is a PG rated show. Okay. All right, so let's take and let's go with a 0.625. Let's see here, 0.625 by 0.625 rectangle. Let's go with a radius corner. Let's go with a 1/8 inch radius. Okay. And let's take and make a linear array of this. And I want to go 1, 2, 3. Let's go 4 rows. No, let's go 3 rows. 3 rows. Let's not be too greedy. And let's go 14 columns. And let's put a gap of about, let's go a 1/4 inch apart. All right, let's copy that. Let's go a 1/2 inch apart. Quit that licking, girl. You are so loud. Lord have mercy. All right. Let's take and undo that. Let's go a 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. There we go. All right. Now let's stretch this out to right about here. Here. All right. And let's go. All right, let's center that up. Control Z, or not Control Z. Let's go to alignment and, oh, you son of a gun. Control Z. I need to group these guys together. Group. Otherwise, it wants to center them all right on top of each other. And then now I can center. All right. And let's say that we did, I mean, this is kind of a very basic, one. But let's say we did a profile or a pocket cut. Let's do a profile cut. Going halfway, all the way through. Probably halfway through on one side, halfway through on the other, whatever. We could do, we just need to get them all the way through because it will still be a two-sided job, right? And we have to remember there's going to be a rabbit down here somewhere. Look at there. So that's important. Can't have that happening. So hold on a second. Let's regroup. Let's regroup. Okay. All right, let's calculate start depth of 0, cut depth of 0.5, 1/4 inch end mill, calculate, reset that preview, preview that selected toolpath. Trying to delete all these. Double click on your waist areas. Double clicking on your waist area will remove that waist area and everything. Let's see what profile. It's not that profile. It's this profile here. Preview that selected toolpath. Okay, and then flip to the other side and preview that selected toolpath. But, oh, where's my, wait, hold on, I gotta get my pocket cut in there. Preview that, select the toolpath. Not that one. Stupid. Wrong pocket. We'll get her. There she goes. There she goes. All right. All right, let's see if I can get rid of these little chocolate chip Hershey Kisses. Stop. Now this is a very basic square design, right? But I'm talking about, you could do a little swirly cue like cutout and all, like almost like your monogram, vines and all that stuff. I'm just trying to simulate a cutout. Oh, stop. But the side of your basket or your serving tray, should I say? The two sides, they could be open. They could have a, some type of pattern cut out, and they don't have to be solid. You know, they could have a nice little swirl type shape cut. Think of almost like scroll saw work, you know, type of thing. You know, your pocket cutting or what have you. You know what I mean? I just did squares just for, you know, kicks and giggles, but you know, it could be anything. You know, it could be anything. Your inlay, your V-carve flat depth in there. You don't have to do an inlay. Just do a V-carve in the bottom of the tray. Your handle design. Here's a classic. Here's another one. Let's say if we were doing kind of a Western theme going on here, right? And I come in and let's go into turn this layer off, turn this on. All right, I'm going to take just this general shape right here, right? I'm going to make a copy of that. Make a copy of that to a new layer. All right, we'll make this layer, I don't know, green. Now we better not do green. We'll leave it black. All right, so we're going to turn off all the layers except for this layer. Now, instead of a handle hole, what about if we take two holes here? I'm going to go half it. Oh, you son of a gun. Make sure the layer you're working in is active. How many times have I said that tonight? I might have to start a drinking game every time I say that. All right. So, okay, let's take and let's draw a 1/2-inch diameter circle here. That would be 0.5, Laney. All right, and let's take and close this. Hold down our control key, and let's pull a copy, you know, about like that. Let's take these two parts and this part, with them selected first, we'll group those together. Select this part, and then we will align to the center, left and right, right? Make sure it's centered. All right, now imagine if I drill two holes through here, okay? I drill two holes through here, and I loop a nice hemp type rope, you know, come in, you know, with a hemp rope, and you know, tie a knot on the inside or whatever, and that rope comes up. And then if I did that, this doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, so high up or what have you, but we could do rope handles instead of Keith Painter says grapes will roll out of those holes. Yeah, on those holes on the side, grapes would roll out of them too if they weren't on the vine still. But we could do a rope handle. All right, so a rope handle may look, let's see here. Oh, come on. I know there's got to be something with a rope handle somewhere. Give me a second. Okay, not what I was going for, but you'll get the idea here in just a second. So, not what I was going for, but you'll get the gist. Where is that at? Desktop. And let it pop up. Give it a moment, give it a moment, give it a moment, give it a moment. All right. This is kind of an urban farm, right? But let's see if we can zoom in on that. All right. But you know what I mean about the rope handles, right? You know, it could be rope handles on the sides. This one doesn't have really any walls in it on urban farms design, but anyway. But you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be just a carved cut-in handle. It could be rope handles. It could be hardware. You could have, like, you know, brass handles, stainless steel handles. It could be whatever, you know, whatever you would want it to be. So think about that. You know, alternatively think about those type of things, those type of designs and stuff. Think about the flailed or frayed out sides, about a 30-degree angle. Your miter cuts and all. Now with that, if you did that, you would actually be not only, there would be no pocket or rabbet on the other side. You would be running the miters on the bottom of the side, all the side pieces. You know, you'd be doing all the sides and the bottom, but also on your serving tray base, you'd be cutting that angle as well. So you'd be mitering it all the way around. You could do a pocket cut in there to get it to fit in and all, but you'd most likely be mitering it to get that nice flayed window, or not window, but sidewall type of deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:54. Let's go ahead and roll out some questions on serving trays. And this one, we only did basically one design here, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And let's see what, if you have any questions on anything relatable. Basic serving trays generally run around 24 inches, 24 and a half by 18. In size, the walls generally run around 4 inches tall, but of course, as you saw with that urban design one, they can vary, they're different sizes and things like that, and stuff. But as a basic general, design, you're looking, that. But they could be smaller, right? If you don't have a 24-inch able to do a 24-inch piece or a 24-inch project, bring it down to 22 by 16. Keep the aspect ratio. Hey, Steve Carmichael. Hey, buddy. How are you doing? Hopefully you're still there for me to hear me say hi, but it's great to see you. Man, it's good to see you. Excellent. Awesome. No, Dave, we're gonna talk about the quick set tool during this questioning and everything right now. So whenever you're ready to ask that question. You don't have to ask it. We'll consider that being the question to ask. All right, so it's an open Q&A time where you can ask questions and receive answers and everything. And one of the questions that has been buzzing all week, waiting for an answer, is a question about the DWC Quickset Zeroing Tool. So let me pull up a website here, my website, digitalwoodcarver.com, and let's go over to our, come on, DWC. There we go. Let's go to our shop page, accessories, and we'll go down here to the DWC Quickset. All right, on the DWC Quickset Zeroing Tool, it's a zero block that sits on the corner of your material. You can use it to find the edges of your board. You can find the corner, the center corner, and also it's a Z0 touch-off tool. It's kind of a 3-in-1 type of thing. You can use the circle center finder within our Planet CNC TNG software that we use, or the edge finder, XYZ touch-off with a simple G code, and then of course your Z zeroing alignment and everything. Now, the thing of it is, and Ronnie, I'll get to your question in just 1 second. A lot of people are having questions on how to hook it up. So depending on when you got your quick set tool, there are two configurations of how it came. Now you'll notice in the picture here, this one has a red wire. That's mine from my table. I took that picture. Mine has a red wire. Most likely yours has a black one. So if you're sitting there going, wait a minute, mine doesn't have a red wire. Is it supposed to have a red wire? Doesn't matter what color that wire is. It could be purple. Okay? But most likely yours is black. Now, you either got the earlier setup where you actually had a little clip that came with your quick set tool, and that got clipped to the wire, like actually pressed in and clipped. It was a connector. It was an inline connector. Let me show you a picture of that. All right. Inline wire connector. Images. Let's go over to some images. All right. That's the one. There, let me just click on this. Okay, yours was blue. All right. Most likely you got an inline wire connector. If your quickset tool has that particular wire, length of wire with that connector, because there was two different setups, all right, that connects. So your quickset tool, let's go back to our quickset tool here. There is a bolt and everything. Your wire most likely has a loop at the end of it. It connects into the hole in the top of the quickset tool, threads right in. And on the other side, the other end of that wire, you would use your wire connector and it would snap onto the touch plate side of your connection, because your connection coming out of your box has a gator clip and a touch plate, right? That wire coming from the quickset would clip on in line somewhere near the touch plate, okay, on the touch plate wire. Now, if you got the latest version of the quickset tool, most likely, again, your wire is going to be black, and your wire is going to probably be a length of maybe 8 inches long, and it's going to have a gator clip at the end of it, right? Well, it was at that time when I decided, you know what, we don't need to crimp and pop a line, pop a wire through into an inline connector. We could just get the signal to travel from our current touch plate, our flat touch plate, to the quickset. So all we need to do is use a gator clip and clip it onto the quickset, or onto the touch plate. So if you have that short length of wire, it gets connected to the top of the block, and then the gator clip clips onto your flat touch plate. That's it. Set it on the corner of your block, and you're going to use the quickset zeroing tool. Okay, you can use the center finder within the software, but for those of you that know my channel, let's go to youtube.com Spindle TV. You should know it. You're on it right now, live. All right, so we're going to go to youtube.com Spindle TV. Look at there, Spindle TV is live right now. Decorative trays, look at that. Spindle TV. I love this guy, Maniacs. He's awesome. All right, and I want to thank you guys. Look at there, 1,167 subscribers. You know, Spindle TV hasn't been around that long. We're already over 1,000 subscribers. Keep it going. Share, share, share. All right, so if we go to the video section, Spindle TV is brand new. You know, it hadn't been around a while, but we've got 76 videos, hour-long live content and everything. Hours long, not hour-long. There's not an hour-long video on this channel, I don't think. Anyway, right here, you're going to watch this video right here. This video is, well, we don't need to watch it right now, but it's how to install and use the DWC Quickset G-Code generator, step by step. All right, so this is going to take you step by step of using that generator that I created to create the G-Code to run automatically that Quickset tool. But your thing is how do you connect the Quickset tool? One of two ways, depending on which one you have. You either have the one with the short wire and the gator clip, that clips onto the touch plate, boom, and you're done. Or you have the longer wire with the blue clip, that clips into the touch plate side of the wire. It actually clips and connects in line on the wire permanently. Okay? The one that clips on the touch plate, you clip it and unclip it when you're not using it and putting it away. So that's that. All right? It's cut and dry. It's straightforward. It's one of the simplest tools. If you can run a CNC machine, you can darn well run this touch plate. If you have any problems, call me one-on-one and we'll do it together one day. All right. So let's see here. Let's go up and let's see here. Yeah, man. Steve, great to see you. Thanks for joining me. Lainey, what would you charge for this serving tray? What would I charge for the serving tray? Well, I mean, it really depends on the design and the inlay. You know, think of like the United States. I was just thinking like we could do one in the United States or our state and all that stuff. But look around online. Okay, so if we were to take a quick glance online at what serving tray prices are going for. I'm sure they vary from a couple of bucks up to, you know, a couple $50, you know. So let's here. Let me see if I can find a basic general Amazon wood serving tray. Right, just a very basic wood serving tray on Amazon. Let's see what we've got going on for a price here. This little old serving tray, they're ranging $25, $29, $24, $23, $34, $35, $30, you know, $37, $22, $20, $39. You know, that's just a few of them off of Amazon. You know, but check out Etsy. They're probably in the $50 or $60 range. But none of these that I saw, none of these, the prices in the $30 range and all that stuff, none of them were inlay or anything like that. You know, they're mostly just basic serving trays and square sides, square bottom, painted, unpainted, nothing special about them and everything. So, you know, you could probably get a little bit more, maybe 40, 50 bucks, right? That's where I'd probably be at, around there. All right. Now, Laney, has anyone else experienced the same issue I had today? Nope. Not a single one. You're the only one, Tom. Tom, when he was using his DWC Quickset tool, after doing an automatic touch-off with the Quickset tool, his G-code wouldn't load properly. It gave an error in the one of the G-code lines. It was a new one on me. But no, Tom, you were the very first I've ever heard of doing that out of 1,200 and something customers. So, still going to try to find out what the reason is behind that. All right, so let's see here. Debbie Miller. Can I buy a gator clip and replace the line connector? Absolutely. Best place to get gator clips, auto store, you know, Discount Auto or something like that. They sell them. Hobby Lobby, Walmart, I think. I don't think Walmart would sell gator clips, but you know, yeah, absolutely you can, 100%, for sure, Debbie. Paul says, possibility to bring in my PC during Wood Show in Columbus and anytime during or after the show to check the Aspire or Vectric for any needed updates as possible, adding the laser to our system. Yes, Paul, bring your computer with you. We can help you install any software that you need or any updates and everything that you need between classes and everything. I can assist you with that. Absolutely. James, can you touch on how to add the keypad either now or with a video? I was not able to make it work with your previous instructions. Absolutely. So what James Coates is talking about is in our Planet CNC TNG motion controller software. Let me open that up, James. Planet CNC. Let me open up Planet CNC. TNG, our controller software for our system. He's asking that, yeah, Tom, yay you, right? We'll get it figured out, buddy. We'll figure out why it's doing that. But no, you were the first. I even went out to my shop and with my Quickset and tried to duplicate what you were experiencing and couldn't get it. So if anybody else, experienced that, what it is when Tom is touching off with, after he zeroes out with his Quickset tool, running a G-code created by the DWC G-code, Quickset G-code generator. He's running that process with his touch plate, you know, his Quickset block. And once he zeroes out and stuff, he loads in one of his Toolpath files that he saved with the helical arcs inch post processor. It's a newer post processor in the 2018 917 version of Planet CNC. He's getting an error in his G-code line. But if he doesn't use the touch block, he doesn't get the error. That's what it is. That's what I got to figure out what that glitch is. But he's the only one, and you're unique, Tom. You've always been a unique kind of guy. All right, we'll figure it out, though. Okay, so James, for James Coates, how to set up a number pad, a USB number pad to work as a remote for the mini carver. So we're going to go down to File in Settings. And in the Settings window, when it opens, we're going to go to, let me see first of all if the setting window pops up here, because let's make sure that it's going to capture it. Hold on a second. In the settings window, we're going to go to shortcuts. Shortcuts. It's like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th option down. Shortcuts. All right. And in shortcuts, we're going to scroll down to the jog section. Yeah, it did pop up. Okay. We're going to go down to the jog section. Jog section. Now your action, when I say section, that's your action column. And the main actions are in bold black letters, and we're coming down to jog. Okay, jog. Now, newer CNCs, first of all, in the pin column, you're going to be jog 2. And let me do this the proper way. Bear with me a second. Jog 1, jog 2, jog 3, jog 4. Okay, in the pin column, it's going to say jog 2, jog 1, jog 4, jog 3, jog 6, jog 5. Jog 7 and jog 8 doesn't apply because you don't have an A axis on there. Okay, now, in the code column, this is you, James. In the code column, this is your keypad, your keyboard, your codes, your key codes and all. So you're going to make sure that your number lock key is on. And your x-axis minus, x minus is going to be 4. All right, and it shouldn't say left. If it says left, your number lock is not on. Turn your number lock on and try that again. It should say number 4. Then number 6 for x plus. Number 2 for y minus. Number 8 for y plus. Now, on here, for your number pad, you're going to use most likely your plus and minus key, or your 0 and period key, each one. I'm going to do plus and minus. So Z down is going to be the negative key. Z up is going to be the plus key. Okay? Now, that's only part of the keys. Let's come on down. Come on down. Jog axis X minus Y minus. This is diagonal moves. It moves both of the axes at the same time. That's going to be your number 1 key. X minus Y positive is the number 7 key. X positive, Y minus is the number 3 key, and then your number 9 key. Okay? Now we're going to go all the way down even further beyond that, all the way to the bottom, and your increased speed and your decreased speed, that's going to be your, if you're wanting to use the whole number pad scenario and all, your increased speed is going to be your period, and your decreased speed is going to be your number 0. Okay? All right. That should be your settings. Now, once you've set those settings, in order for the number pad to work, when you're in your software, you must single click somewhere in this black screen here in the middle preview screen. You must single click somewhere so it activates that number pad, and your number lock must be on. Because if I'm not clicked in that screen, then when I'm typing numbers, they're coming up most likely in my MDI box or something like you see down here at the bottom of the screen. We don't want that happening. We want to click in this black screen here, and that will activate the number pad. Make sure your number lock is on, and you'll be moving along. Okay? All right. Awesome stuff. Way to go. All right. Hey, Wes. What's happening, buddy? Wes. Sorry we've never had our collaboration, man. I've let you down so many times on that one. One of these days, buddy. I promise. Wes Hamstray. Good old friend. We were supposed to do collaboration a long time ago. Y'all go check out his YouTube channel. He makes some awesome stuff. Okay. Let's see here. So, James, hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. All right. Any other questions? Now's the time, guys and girls. CNC, CAD CAM, Vectric. If you're a Digital Wood Carver customer, Planet CNC, CNC USB controller. James Coates, this is for you, still working on a process for touching off without clipping the gator clip onto the board, creating a point of continuity for you on the mini carver. Another alternative. I have an alternative, but right now it's using the touch probe as a zeroing tool for the Z. No gator clip, no touch plate required, and but it's $150. So, oh yeah, Wes, I think about it every day. I honestly do. I think about like, you know, the things in my channel. I got to get back to my YouTube channel, you know, because CNC's got me tied up so much. But I need to make some more woodworking videos on my YouTube channel. And every time I think about my YouTube channel, I think about my collaboration with you. So every day, all the time, it's always on my mind. Seriously. So one of these days, I promise, man, come up with an idea and I'll work it in. I'll work it in my schedule somehow or another. But yeah, James, other than that, you know, if you want to buy a digital probe and clamp it to the table, turn it upside down and use it as a touch tool, which is awesome. You know, it's $150 for the probe though. I'll figure out another solution. Working on it, but right now it's the gator clip on the bit. James, if you've gone through all those procedures, clicking on the black screen and making sure and everything, you still haven't got your number pad to work, call me. Well, we'll not right now, we're live, but call me after the class or something, and we'll jump on TeamViewer and we'll look at your settings. Now, you've also got you're not using a computer, you're using a Raspberry Pi, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Works for computers. I don't run the Raspberry Pi enough to know, so we'll check. Yeah, I think it might be the Raspberry Pi, because there's no other steps. All right, let's see here. Is the new joinery attachment available on the website? What old Dave is asking about there is let's pop back over here to the old Digital Woodcarver website here, and let's back her on up. He's talking about the DWC quickset, not quickset, the DWC jig for joinery jig. I got a name for it. You bear with me. Let me see if I can stand by for a moment. And while we're waiting on this, while I'm pulling this up, any other questions? Type them in now, because we are going to be closing the doors here in about 5 to 8 minutes, guys. 5 to 8 minutes is about all we're going to run, and then we're going to call it a night. But stand by. Let me grab this item here. Dum 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 dum. All right, we're working it. We're rocking it. We're rocking it. Save and publish. All right, if I refresh this screen over here that you're looking at, we should see this thing pop up on it. Dum 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 dum. The Joint Maker jig, DWC Joint Maker jig. Joint Maker jig is great for mortise and tenon joints, dovetails, half line or through, finger joints, or unique and decorative joints. Now, it mounts right to the end of the table. Not only do you get the jig, but you also get the extension brackets that bring the gantry forward an additional 3 inches for over the front carving. yours for a low price of introductory price of $145. Get it while it's on sale. All right, mounts right to the front. Holds boards vertically and horizontally for mortise and tenon, finger joints, dovetail joints, decorative joints, all kinds of things. That is, yes, it's on the website. Okay, what's included is the jig itself, the gantry extension brackets, and the hardware. New. All right. Let's see here. Wes, unfortunately, I will not be in Woodstock this year. I won't be doing Canada this year. We are cranked out here with shows and stuff, so I unfortunately will not be attending Woodstock. Hamilton next year. I think Hamilton's already passed, or Hamilton's happening right now. Woodstock's coming up. Isn't Woodstock in February? Didn't it already happen? I'm not sure. Is it March? Or is it September? Is Woodstock the one that's in September? Which one's September, Wes? Because I can't say I wouldn't be doing it if it's the September one. Is that Woodstock? Let me know. All right. So, yeah, it's on the website. It's on the website. Next week, we're going to be talking dovetails in lieu of this new joint making jig that's being released for the Digital Woodcarver 2440s, 3-axis or 4-axis. It does not work with the mini carver guys and girls that have the mini carver. So it's just for the 2440 3-axis and 4-axis unit. But in lieu of that, we are going to be doing dovetails next week. How to make dovetails, how to make finger joints. We're going to do through dovetails, and we're going to do half blind. We're also going to do little heart-shaped, funky little dovetails. All those cutesy little decorative little designs that you might see in joinery, corner joinery and stuff. You'll see that, and we'll make those too as well. So that will be next week. And it might be a 2-part class because it might take a couple of parts to get through part 1 and part 2. So yeah, look for that next week. All right, let's get back to the questions and answers. I got to change one thing. Bear with me real quick because I know oh, hey, also something new that's come out that will be posted later is a new little nice little drawer, a little single tabletop type drawer that attaches right to the frame, front or back, for a nice drawer and little laptop tablet stand. $110. $110. Wait till you see it. It'll come out live as well too. All right, let's get back to the questions. Let's see here. October. No, it's in October. Might have to see that, Wes. I know September 28th through October, or is it October, November? I'm doing the Klingspor woodworking show in Charlotte, or Hickory, North Carolina. I think Woodstock is before that, so I might make it. I might be able to make it. Keith, thank you very much. 5.5. Because I know at some point in time, Keith was talking about a 1x6. A 1x6 is 5.5 inches, but at some point in time, like a 1x8, it changes over to 7.25. Then, a 1x10 would be 9.25. A 1x12 would be 11.25. So it changes from halves, 1.5, 3.5, that type of thing, to quarters at some point. And I wasn't sure if that 1x6 was the borderline. Thanks, Keith. Appreciate that. How much is the shipping on the joinery jig? That's a good question there, Missy. Let's find out. Miss Debbie. Let's find out here. Ships UPS, USPS, or UPS, one of the two. Let's check out. About $30. About $30 shipping there, Missy. Miss Debbie. $30 looks to be. If it went freight, it'd be about 60 or 160. Nah, it's gonna go. It'll go UPS or USPS, one of the two, but it'll be about $30 shipping. Okay. Okay. It's heavy. It sucker weighs. It's got some weight to it. Let's see here. James, again, you'd have to get with me on that. There's no instructions on that. You would call me. Now I'm gonna be in. I think you're in Tampa or something. I want to be in the Tampa area at some point in time next week if I need to come over there. Don't make me come over there. No, if I have to come over, let me know. I got to go do a spindle setup, so I'll let you know what day. But there's no instructions for that. I just have to walk you through it. All right, let's see here. Will you have those jigs at the wood show? And yeah, absolutely, we have them at every wood show. We have the dovetail or the joinery jig, joint maker jig at every woodworking show. At the woodworking show, so they will be there. Yeah, Debbie, thank you. And guys, with that being said, all of that being said, I want to thank you. I want to thank some very special guests. We had some, great YouTubers on here tonight. Wes Hamstray, Steve Carmichael Workshop. Check them out. Check out Steve Carmichael's channel. Great guy. And a few others snuck in there. Let me see here. Miter Mike's, thanks for stopping by, Mike. I really appreciate you coming in. And you do it, Keith Painter, everybody. But you guys and girls, thanks for swinging by. I don't know how you heard about me. I don't know what made you pop in tonight, but it was a pleasant surprise. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And let's get off of these Legos. I don't know why I'm looking at Lego parts here. Let's get back because I gotta have. Hold on. I gotta have a screenshot up. I gotta let it sit there and talk for a minute. So that'll be my my default thumbnail on my video. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Yeah, guys and girls, I want to see some serving trays come up in the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group. I'll release the DXF files and all, but I'd love to see some different serving trays. Be creative. Think about that where the sides, I made the little boxes and all, but do some cutouts and stuff, do some cut throughs and all. Not only the inlays, but just do some V carving there. I saw a couple of states, some monogram letters, customized. Great items that would sell. Like I said, you might be in the $25 to $50 range for a simple serving tray, but it all depends on, how elegant you go and everything. With all that being said, I really want to thank everybody for sitting in and watching on this. Stay tuned next week for dovetails or joints in general, finger joints, dovetails, mortise, and tenons. We're going to talk about how to make them. Until next time, I'll see you soon. I want to thank Tonight TV, your best for CNC CAD/CAM training videos. If you're watching Spindle TV on YouTube, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. You can find out more information about our training and products by visiting us at www.digitalwoodcarver.com.